All rise. Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. The Supreme Court of Florida is now in ceremonial session. Let all who have cause to plead draw near. Give attention. You will be heard. God save these United States, the great state of Florida, and this honorable court. Ladies and gentlemen, the Florida Supreme Court. Please be seated.
Okay. Good afternoon and welcome to the Florida Supreme Court. It's an honor for all of us on the court to be with you here to recognize and celebrate today's award winners. Each of them has elevated our shared profession by achieving excellence in service to others. Their hard work has benefited not just the individuals they directly served, but all of society by instilling trust and confidence in the basic justice of our legal system. Today's award winners show that service comes in many forms. Most of the people we'll honor today have facilitated or provided direct legal services to those who otherwise would have gone unrepresented. But we'll also be highlighting the work of two judges who've spearheaded a creative and effective educational program for students. There are as many ways to serve as there are members of our profession. Each of us has something to offer for the betterment of our fellow man. While our focus today is on the best of the best, we're of course grateful to every Florida lawyer who gave their time, talent, or treasure in service to others in the past year. During the most recent reporting period, Florida attorneys collectively provided more than 1.5 million hours of free legal service and contributed $7.5 million to legal aid groups. Those figures capture the hard work and generosity of tens of thousands of members of the Florida Bar. Each year, our court relies on the Chief Justice's Pro Bono Advisory Committee to identify deserving award candidates. That committee spends hours learning about and assessing many worthy nominees. We're grateful to the advisory committee and in particular to its chair, Gary Lesser, who's a great friend of the court and the past president of the Florida Bar. I'd now like to ask committee members who are present to please stand and be recognized. Next, we'd like to honor the members of the Florida Pro Bono Coordinators Association. Could any of you who are present please stand and be recognized? Great. Now we've arrived at the heart of today's ceremony, the announcement and presentation of this year's awards. We'll start with the K. Myers Pro Bono Coordinator of the Year Award. This year's winner is Jenna D'Onofrio Hudson with Bay Area Legal Services. Ms. Hudson, would you please stand and be recognized? No? Okay. Well, congratulations to Ms. Hudson. Since 2005, the court has recognized a state court judge for work improving the administration of justice, particularly regarding pro bono work. The winner this year, it's someone who's hard to kind of stay on script for because she's such a special person and she's known and beloved by our court. This year's winner is Judge Bertie Soto, the 11th Judicial Circuit in Miami. Bertie is one of those people where when you meet her, you immediately know that this person is a good egg. She's universally admired. Even Robert Luck's grumpy, cold heart was warmed by Bertie Soto. And she's really, you know, she comes from an iconic family. Her dad, Osvaldo, is a legend in Miami. She's continued on that tradition of service and commitment to justice. She was an outstanding chief judge of the 11th Circuit. She kind of willed, I know she was one of the team that willed their new courthouse into existence. Anyone who's been in her office, someone described it to me as the ibis or whatever threw up in there. It's apparently it's pretty amazing. But in particular, as far as pro bono goes, during her time as chief, she recruited more than 3,000 new attorneys. She was helped begin the 11th Circuit's Veterans Court, a Grace Court for Unified Court Division to improve the delivery of justice to minors victimized by human trafficking. Judge Soto is one of the judges to whom our court has repeatedly turned for service on every manageable bar committee, whether it's helping us get through COVID or just general supervision of the branch, TCBC, et cetera. She's a true leader and truly excellent, and we're very, very honored to recognize you with this award. So if you could please give it more.
Wow, thank you so much for those beautiful words. May it please the court, Chief Justice Muniz, Justices, President Westheimer, fellow recipients, colleagues, and friends. What an honor to be in this courtroom. I never expected to be speaking in this courtroom, and it's truly amazing. Bobby, I hope you're watching. And what an honor to be recognized for the work that's so important and needed in our state, pro bono assistance. I was wondering, why am I standing here? And when I thought about it, you spoke of my father. I think of my parents, and my passion for service comes from them. And like many of you have heard, and some of you in this courtroom, my father and mother fled Cuba in 1960. And although they yearned for Cuba's freedom, they embraced and loved this country. For my father and mother, it was important that they showed their gratitude to this country for giving them a home that they had lost in Cuba. My father had been a lawyer in Cuba, but received his Juris Doctorate in the certificate program that the Supreme Court started in 1976 at the University of Florida. I'm sorry about that, but other than that, it was good. Go Canes. My father showed his gratitude through pro bono work at his firm. I worked there since I was 14, and many people could not afford to pay for his services, and he was always willing to help out or to send them where they needed to go, knowing all the wonderful programs that were available. He was also giving back through the voluntary bar associations, which his heart was in the Cuban American Bar Association. He knew that without the help of others, he and my family would not have been as lucky, and he wanted to pay it forward. Through his actions, both as a lawyer and an American, I learned the importance of giving back. And what better way than as a lawyer, which my father held so dearly, and now as a judge. Being a lawyer for him was more than a business. It was a way to serve. And as Justice Sandra Day O'Connor said, public service marks the difference between a business and a profession. And while a business can afford to focus solely on profits, a profession cannot. It must devote itself first to the community it is responsible to serve. I can imagine no greater duty than fulfilling that obligation, and I can imagine no greater pleasure. As a judge, I have learned how important pro bono service is to our system. There isn't a judge in town or throughout the state that isn't happy when someone that needs help has a lawyer that steps up and works in pro bono. It makes our life better, and it also makes an efficiency to the court, and it also helps the person, obviously, to the litigant. The 11th Judicial Circuit, where I come from, is very, very lucky. It's blessed with a Legal Aid's Puts Back program, and Karen Lattis, I see, is here in the crowd. The Cuban American Bar Pro Bono Project, run by Leslie Mendoza, Legal Services, run by Monica Vidas Bitang, and Aboda's Pro Bono Guardian ad Litem program. Their good is evident in the thousands of cases they handle, and anything I do as a judge, and as judges you bring a lot to us, is really due to their diligence in including the judiciary and making sure that we are coming along with them with the great work that they do. When I was chief of the 11th, my eyes were truly opened by Chief Judge Justice Labarga at the time, and Justice Labarga appointed me to the Access to Justice Commission, and it gave me a firsthand look at the projects throughout our state and the need we have today. And what was amazing to me is I had no idea how much pro bono work was out there and how wonderful the lawyers from Florida were and how wonderful the Supreme Court was and all the things that they did to assure people would have representation in our courts. And I want to thank you for that, Justice Labarga, because it really helped me and the circuit grow in pro bono work. And it's been a privilege for me to work under your tutelage with that. Finally, I want to thank the 11th Judicial Circuit Chief Judge Nushin Saifi for continuing to encourage and support our community and its pro bono efforts. I want to thank my husband, Gabriel Rodriguez, and my beautiful daughter, Billy Fernandez, who came up with me in my new Tesla, which we didn't know how to drive. So you can imagine that was a great meme. If we would have taped it, it would have made fun. I love the both of you very, very much. And to my colleagues in the stands who are here, who came to see me, thank you always for your work and continuous support. Before I step down, I want to congratulate all the recipients, because you truly are the workhorses. I was talking to a few of you, and you impressed me so much. Thank you for what you do for the state of Florida. As judges, we're giving you and all the work you do, and we can't pay you enough for what you do. I promise to continue in helping with this effort, and again, I thank the justices and the Florida Bar for this beautiful recognition.
Thank you very much for those awesome remarks. The next award is the Chief Justice's Distinguished Federal Judicial Service Award. This is an award that the court instituted in 2016 to recognize an active or retired federal judge for outstanding and sustained service to the public. This year, we're blessed that we have two co-award winners, and I'm especially proud of the fact that although our award recipients this year are now federal judges, each of them started their judicial career as a state trial court judge here in Florida. So we're very, very proud of that fact. The award winners this year are Judge Beth Bloom of the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Florida in Miami, and Judge Robin Rosenberg of the U.S. District Court for the Southern District of Florida in West Palm Beach. They're being honored, although they've each done a ton for pro bono, they're principally being honored because of a really, really fantastic program that they started in 2017 called the Civil Discourse and Difficult Decisions Program. In preparation for the award ceremony today, I read as much as I could about this. I watched, videos on the internet about it. I mean, apparently this program, which you started here in South Florida, has now spread nationally. I think I read that every federal judicial circuit in the country does it. It started as a high school program, then it grew to college, and I know they recently had Duke Law School, which one of you attended, I think, I can't remember. Even law students now are doing it. And it's a really incredible combination of exposure to the civil justice system, and people practice what it's like to be jurors and that sort of thing. But it also promotes personal responsibility by getting the students to think about situations that they might find themselves in and what the right way to respond is. And just the idea of civil discourse, I mean, I guess they explore this in connection with talking about specific cases and kind of modeling what jurors do and that sort of thing. And, it goes without saying that, it's hard to imagine a time in our country where there was more of a need to cultivate those habits of mind in people and an appreciation for the ability to, resolve disagreement through reason rather than power, and put yourself in other people's shoes, and basically be good citizens, which unfortunately is something that we, that we can't take for granted, and that we've seen all around us every day how much of a need there is for this. So Judges Bloom and Rosenberg, congratulations on winning this award, and I'd be honored if you would come up and offer some remarks.
May it please the court. Honored guests, family, friends, and fellow honorees. It was humbling to learn that my dear friend and colleague, Judge Robin Rosenberg, and I were to be recognized for our efforts in creating the Civil Discourse and Difficult Decisions program that's known as CD3. This honor allows us to express our deep gratitude to the many state and federal judges, volunteer lawyers, court staff, and teachers who have given their time and talent to teach and inspire our youth. Their commitment, the wisdom of our National Education Outreach Manager, Rebecca Fanning, and the dedication of the hundreds of Federal Bar Association leaders have allowed CD3 to be presented in courtrooms and classrooms throughout the country to high school, college, and law school students. On a personal note, it also allows me to thank my husband of 30 years, Lyle Stern, who is here, for his tremendous love and support, and to thank my family and colleagues who are watching from afar. Receiving this award is so meaningful to each of us, since, as you said, we were Florida State Court judges, and we witnessed firsthand the inspiring programs and opportunities that this court provided to our youth through its docent and Journey Through Justice programs, the Fellows Program for law students, and the Justice Teaching Institute, a pioneering national model. We know that CD3 has had a profound and lasting impact on students who learn to engage in respectful, thoughtful civil discourse and responsible decision-making in their lives. As state court judges, we routinely invited students into the courtroom, and it was natural for us to continue our efforts when we were each appointed to the federal bench. The creation of the Civil Discourse and Difficult Decisions program 7 years ago was also personal to us. We each have 3 children who were school-aged at the time, and we witnessed firsthand that our children were watching the unfortunate incivility and inappropriate discourse from our leaders. We decided to do something, and we focused our efforts on the tools needed for students to engage in thoughtful discussion, attacking the opinion and not the person, and engaging in critical listening skills. The program also focuses on responsible decision-making, and as sentencing judges in state and federal court, we saw and still see the permanent effect of a good person making a bad decision. Chief, thank you for recognizing our work and the pro bono efforts of so many. 21 years ago, I had the privilege of standing before this court as president of the Florida Conference of County Court Judges on the subject of pro bono service by judges. And this court opined that judges engaging in non-judicial activities demonstrates to the public that members of the judiciary are also integral members of the community who strive toward the common goal of improving society as a whole. And Chief Justice Muniz, you recently shared that sentiment in expressing that there is nothing more gratifying in helping someone else reach their full potential. We agree and applaud the hundreds of lawyers who volunteer their time and are the true ambassadors of civility. Thank you for this tremendous honor.
We come in a package, so there's one more. May it please the court, honored guests, family, and friends. I too want to say what an honor it is to be here in this esteemed courtroom in Tallahassee before this esteemed bench. One of my career highlights has been working with our outreach manager in Washington at the Administrative Office of the Courts, Rebecca Fanning, my dear friend and inspiration in most everything I do, Beth Bloom, my chambers and clerk's office staff, and really the countless number of judges and lawyers within the state of Florida and nationwide who have dedicated their time to bringing thousands of students into the courtroom to teach them the importance of civility and sound decision making. I too want to thank my husband, coincidentally of 30 years, Michael McAuliffe. I didn't just copy her speech. We have been married for 30 years. He not only has supported me, but has been very integral actually in the CD3 program. He facilitated the inaugural program in Palm Beach County in 2017, and most recently accompanied me to Duke Law School, where we have expanded the program to law students, and he and our colleague, Judge Shanique Maynard, facilitated the program before 240 first-year law students at Duke. Now, while there's much history to the CD3 program, I do want to highlight just for a moment the expansion, the recent expansion of the program to law students, because I believe that it impacts all of us in a really profound way. A central attribute of the legal system, especially the courts, is the written and oral communication of argument, ideas, authority to and among participants. Lawyers, judges, witnesses, and others all interact about disputes to reach a resolution. Now, of course, the court system is premised on an adversarial advocacy system, so the interactions between the participants aren't always wrapped like presents and don't always get delivered to us with the cloak of civility and cordiality. But even so, in an adversarial system, it is very important that there is a culture of civility and that decorum exists, one that promotes clear, credible assertions free of the taint that comes with personal invectives and demeaning behavior. Strong communication skills and techniques must be reinforced as a systemic wraparound ethos of cordial, respectful engagement. And fortunately, civility has the great advantage of consistently being the most effective manner of persuasion and advocacy. These are precisely the insights of the Civil Discourse and Difficult Decisions CD3 program. I too will borrow from the late Sandra Day O'Connor, who said, unfortunately, civility is hard to codify and legislate, but you know it when you see it. It's possible to disagree without being disagreeable. The key to resolving conflicts is through dialogue, understanding, and compromise. Let these be tenets we all seek to emulate. Thank you so much.
Thanks for those remarks, and congratulations on the success of your program. I really hope that it continues to spread, especially through the law schools. Okay, next, every year we honor a law firm for its pro bono efforts, and this year the winner of our award is the Gedeon and Morales Law Group of Hollywood, Florida. Nadine Gedeon and Christina Morales founded the firm and are recognized for the focus they bring to delivering pro bono legal services and the work they do to encourage more attorneys to take on pro bono cases. The firm has accumulated more than 1,000 pro bono hours in the past year alone. In addition to the hours of representation, these lawyers devote time and resources to representing immigrants who can't afford a lawyer and undertake advocacy for larger immigration issues. Ms. Morales and Ms. Gedeon help in other areas as well, including pro bono legal services to domestic abuse victims, through a legal assistance program, and among other groups providing pro bono services. Their commitment goes beyond their partners and includes staff members who volunteer time and expertise. The court would now like to recognize the Gedeon Morales Law Group for commendation as a law firm that has demonstrated a significant contribution to pro bono legal services. Ms. Getty, and if you could now please come and accept the award on behalf of your firm. Congratulations.
May it please the court. Thank you so much. My name is Nadine Gideon, and this is my partner, Maria Cristina Morales. I started my own law firm out of law school in 2014, and we went to school together. We went to St. Thomas University School of Law, but I was ahead of her, like 6 months ahead. And in February of 2015, she joined me at my law firm. And in 2017, we decided to become partner, and we founded Gideon and Morales Law Group. Since then, we've been working together, providing pro bono services to the most vulnerable in our community. We stand before you with immense gratitude and humility as representative of Gideon and Morales Law Group. And it is both an honor and privilege to accept the 2024 law firm commendation from Chief Justice Muniz on behalf of our dedicated team. At the heart of our practice is a deep-seated commitment to providing pro bono legal services to the underprivileged, a commitment that goes beyond the state of duty and becomes a shared philosophy within our firm. Today, we are not only celebrating an award, we are celebrating the power of collective service, the spirit of giving back, and the impact we can collectively have on the lives of those who need it most. Christina and I have always recognized the responsibility we bear as legal professionals to champion justice and equality. This commendation, a testament to our dedication, is not merely an acknowledgement of individual efforts, but a celebration of the culture of service that infuses every corner of our firm. In recent years, our team has devoted extensive hours to pro bono service, including a steadfast commitment to standing alongside recent immigrants navigating legal difficulties. For example, Christina has left an indelible mark with pro bono representation of a Cuban political activist and handling countless pro bono asylum cases. What sets us apart is not just the outstanding legal expertise of our partners, but the collective spirit of generosity that resonates throughout our entire team. In our pro bono clinics, every member of our staff steps forward to contribute their time. It is a shared commitment to service that amplifies our impact on community service. This award is a recognition of a dedication who believes in the power of legal service to bring about positive change. It is a reflection of our shared commitment to giving back to the community and making justice accessible to those who need it the most. I extend my deepest appreciation to Chief Justice Muniz, the Supreme Court of Florida, and all those who recognize and support our commitment to pro bono services. I want to acknowledge my husband who's here with me, Dr. Leon Gideon, who's my work, and my colleagues, my friend, who's receiving an award also, Deborah Sanville. We have worked together providing pro bono services as members of the Haitian Lawyers Association. We also alumni of the Leadership Academy, Class 10. So I want to thank everyone, President Orsheimer, President Patel, the Board of Governors. Thank you so much for your support.
Congratulations again, and thank you for those remarks. Each year, the court also recognizes a voluntary bar association for its outstanding pro bono contributions. This year, the honoree is the Lake County Bar Association. The Lake County Bar Association is an influential voluntary bar association fulfilling a vital role in its community with its commitment to pro bono work. In a partnership with Community Legal Services, the Lake County Bar Association has put on a sealing and expungement clinic, offering a single place for clients to connect with multiple agencies to seek sealing and expungement help. Members of this bar association volunteer, and the association contributes $1,000 annually to allow indigent clients to participate. 70 people so far have taken part in the first 2 years of this program, which includes pro bono representation by members of the Lake County Bar for expungement and sealing of records. And this has resulted for these people in jobs and better housing and obviously a material improvement in the quality of their lives. The Lake County Bar Association has also trained other voluntary bar associations, encouraging the expansion of this program in other places. Their focus on pro bono work has increased collegiality and respect among its membership in Lake County. For these reasons and more, the court recognizes Mona Payne, who will accept the Voluntary Bar Association Pro Bono Award on behalf of the Lake County Bar Association. Ms. Payne.
Good afternoon. Distinguished justices of the Florida Supreme Court, fellow attorneys, and honored guests. It's an immense privilege to be here today as a representative of the Lake County Bar Association as we celebrate a shared vision of service and justice. In a world where the digital interaction often supersedes personal connection, voluntary bar associations stand as a vital networks uniting us in our shared mission to connect and serve. My decision to join the Lake County Bar was driven by a desire to not just witness, but actively participate in meaningful change. I am proud to be a part of this community where service to others is as important as legal expertise. The heart of the Lake County Bar's pro bono work is our Sealing and Expungement Clinic, a program that epitomizes the essence of legal aid. It is where legal knowledge meets human needs. As a public defender, I have many clients who have made one mistake. I don't want this mistake to follow them around because no one should be defined by their worst mistake. Our Sealing and Expungement Clinic gives them a chance to erase that mistake. The results of our clinic also extend beyond the individual. By assisting in the sealing and expungement of records, we empower the individual to move past their legal hindrances, fostering a healthier, more inclusive society. This is where law transcends books and becomes a vehicle for personal and communal growth. My sincere thanks to the Florida Bar, to Community Legal Services for partnering with us, to Taylor Tremmel for organizing such an amazing clinic. This recognition reaffirms my belief in the power of the law as a catalyst for positive change. Together, we are not just practicing law, we are making a difference, one case, one life at a time. Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations. I'll now call upon Scott Westheimer, President of the Florida Bar, to present the Florida Bar President's Pro Bono Service Awards. And after he's finished, Mr. Westheimer will introduce Anisha Patel, the President of the Bar's Young Lawyers Division, for her remarks.
Chief Justice Muniz, justices, members of the bench, the Florida Bar, special guests, families, friends, and our honorees. It's a truly incredible and special day. We're here today to celebrate and honor our fellow attorneys that have dedicated countless hours to serve those that need pro bono legal services. On behalf of myself, my team, President-elect Roland Sanchez Medina, President-elect Designate Saya Baker Barnes, our Board of Governors, the 112,000 members of our Florida Bar, the third largest in the country, it's my privilege to recognize 21 of our members who made extraordinary efforts to provide pro bono legal services and ensure access to justice. It makes me proud to be a lawyer, to see the efforts of our honorees in helping the least fortunate in our society. Our oath as attorneys in this great state mandates that we will never reject from any consideration personal to ourselves the cause of the defenseless or oppressed. Our selfless honorees are advocates that have taken this oath to heart, have given a voice to those that need a champion. They've ensured access to justice for their clients and serve as role models to all of us. The issues our honorees have worked on cover a wide variety of legal matters. In every single case, they've made a real difference in somebody's life. impacted a family, and given hope to those that may not have had any. They are true champions of justice. Here are just a few examples of the extraordinary contributions made by today's Florida Bar President's Pro Bono Service Award honorees. One honoree does extensive pro bono work with the statewide Guardian ad litem office, providing time, skills, mentorship, empathy, and sound judgment to advocate for dependent children in court, donating over 300 hours so a child does not become lost in our dependency system. Another highlight is an honoree who has donated so many hours in estate planning and probate work, volunteering at community law programs pro bono clinics every single month, and actively participating in pro bono work for Bay Area Legal Services. All of you demonstrate to every lawyer, law student, judge, and citizen in Florida that making a difference in the lives of others is what being a lawyer is all about. It is what makes our profession so great. You are truly the best of the best. Now let us begin to honor your dedicated service. I'll ask each recipient to come forward to receive your certificate as I call your name. For the First Circuit, Kendra Condon. The Second Circuit, Ryland Terry Rigsby. The Third Circuit, Alika Otoya Stimson. The Fourth Circuit, Susanna Collins. The Fifth Circuit, Taylor Tremmel. The Sixth Circuit, Kit Van Pelt. The Seventh Circuit, Donato Rinaldi. The Eighth Circuit could not be here today, but I think she is watching virtually, Amy Abernathy. The Ninth Circuit, Dorothy McMitchin. Tenth Circuit, Grant Lyons. The 11th Circuit, Alvin Lodish. From the Fighting 12th Circuit, Neil Lyons. From the 13th Circuit, Gilbert Singer. From the 14th Circuit, Todd Clifford Brister. From the 15th Circuit, Matthew Zimmerman. From the 16th Circuit, Tom Woods, who could not be here today, but I think is here virtually somewhere. From the 17th Circuit, Jonathan Taylor. From the 18th Circuit, Eric Bowman. And from the 19th Circuit, Jessica Van Valkenburg. From the 20th Circuit, who could not be here today, Andrea Smith. Our out-of-state recipient, Blake Lynn Bruce. Please, let's give all of our superstar honorees one more round of applause. I also want to thank Diana Polston Kellogg for all of her hard work for this event. And also thank the rest of our bar staff for all the work they did for today. It is now my honor and privilege to ask my friend Anish Patel, President of the Young Lawyers Division of the Florida Bar, to come forward and present the Young Lawyers Division Pro Bono Service Award.
Chief Justice, Justices, President Westheimer, President-elect Sanchez Medina, President-elect Designate Baker Barnes, Executive Director Doyle, Board of Governors, distinguished guests, and this year's Pro Bono honorees. I am honored to stand before you today as the President of the Florida Bar Young Lawyers Division to introduce the recipient of this year's YLD Pro Bono Award. The YLD Pro Bono Award recognizes the public service or legal aid performed by a young lawyer who provides outstanding contributions to those in need of legal services. The purpose of this award is to encourage more Florida young lawyers to freely contribute their time and expertise in providing legal services to people in their community who cannot otherwise afford those services, and to recognize those who already do this at the highest level. Having been at this ceremony last year and having reviewed all of the YLD Pro Bono Award nominations this year, it is clear that so many young lawyers are already doing so much of what this award seeks to recognize. This year's YLD Pro Bono Award recipient's commitment to those who need help is undeniable. She is a shining example of what other young lawyers should strive to be, with her unwavering dedication to helping anyone who needs it without question. The Haitian Lawyers Association wholeheartedly nominated Mikhail Deborah Saintville as their nominee for the YLD Pro Bono Award for her all-encompassing approach to delivering pro bono services in her community. Ms. Saintville was raised in Haiti, and her family immigrated to the United States in the early 2000s and settled in Northern California. While she's now the manager of Immigration Legal Services in the Office of New Americas of Miami-Dade, her services to her community extend far beyond her employment. By way of example, she has helped an incredible volume of immigrants and refugees seeking asylum and entry into the United States, including those fleeing religious and government persecution. The Catholic Legal Services Organization in Miami also reported that Ms. Saintville participated in an international conference on refugee challenges in Latin America and was so deeply affected by the on-ground realities that she extended her visit to stay for longer and visit more than 6 other refugee camps to offer direct legal aid. She has also worked with the Florida Immigrant Coalition and Legal Services of Greater Miami, Inc., and providing countless additional pro bono legal services in the areas of landlord and tenant, contract disputes, and family law, including assisting abused spouses and parents longing to be reunited with their children. She has also assisted Ukrainian refugees with applications for temporary protected status and provided pro bono services to individuals needing assistance with citizenship applications in Jacksonville, Miami, and even as far as New York. And when those needing her help cannot make a weekday appointment, Ms. Centville organizes weekend clinics so she can continue to offer her assistance. She does all of this while being a young lawyer, a bar leader, and a devoted mother. The YLD received no less than 4 letters in support of Ms. Centville's nomination, with each detailing more pro bono service than I could ever summarize for you today. She is the deserving candidate of this year's YLD Pro Bono Award, and it is my privilege to introduce her here today. Please join me in recognizing her extraordinary efforts and welcoming Ms. Mikhail Deborah Centville.
May it please the court. Esteemed judges and justice, the president of the Florida Bar and the Young Lawyer Division Florida Bar, the Florida Bar Board of Governors, and the Young Lawyer Division of the Florida Bar Board of Governors, distinguished honorees, and all esteemed guests, both near and online. It is with immense honor I stand with you today to receive this award. I am deeply grateful to the Florida Bar YLD for this recognition. This award holds a significant meaning for me, as a reminder that our work as those who took an oath to never reject the cause of the defenseless or oppressed must continue. We must continue to serve our community. I'm not one to talk about myself, and thanks to the excellent introduction by Ms. Anisha, she had took half of the nerve away from me today. Throughout the community, I am known as Deborah. I was born in New York, but raised in the beautiful island of Haiti. The value of giving back was instilled in me by my parents. They became my role model, teaching me the importance of giving back and embodying it in the action. My journey into pro bono work was not a conscious one. It chose me, guided by a higher purpose. I want to thank Catholic Legal Services for providing me with the tools and space needed to grow in pro bono work and outreach. They supported me without questioning my motive and the journey unfold. Thank you, Wendy, Cassie, and Daniela for surprising me today. A heartfelt thank you to the Haitian Lawyers Association for allowing me to use their platform to reach individuals needing representation. Special thank you to my friends and colleagues that are here today. We have Nadine, Christina, and Vlad, who have supported my endeavor and participated in every clinic, whether it's in the weekends or in the evening. They never say no. Even if they say no, they'll still come. So to see you all here today, I'm really grateful for that. And whenever my family come visit me, they know they're also not excluded for coming to a clinic if there's one that is being done. So thank you to them. And thank you to my daughter, who have been patient, even though she rather be with her friends half of the time. Thank you for your support. It does not go unnoticed. I appreciate your understanding. As a single mom, it is hard to balance work and parenting, but I hope she sees the value of service and will follow her own path of service one day. To those that are unable to be here and watching online, I'm not going to name all of you, but your mentorship and support have been invaluable, and I thank God for you all. I want to extend my deepest gratitude to God for his guidance and blessing toward this journey. I am thankful for all he has done and what he will continue on doing, recognizing this is not just work, it is my ministry to serve and make a positive impact in the life of others. In closing, this work is not about just helping others, but to empower them to help themselves. Something as simply helping an individual complete the work authorization is very important because it'll help them contribute to this community and integrate properly. And to navigate the legal challenges and not fall victim of false representation. As we move forward, let us remember this honor is not just mine. It belongs to the countless individuals and community we have been supporting together. May all you continue moving forward a future where access to justice is a reality for everyone. Once more, thank you to the Florida Bar Young Lawyer Division and especially the award committee for finding me worthy of this award.
Thank you and congratulations again. We now have arrived at the high point of this year's ceremony, the Tobias Simon Pro Bono Service Award. As everyone here knows, this is the Florida legal profession's highest honor for recognizing public service. Before we get to this year's winner, I'd like to begin by asking any past winners of this award to stand and be recognized. No? Okay. Well, it's obviously, I think we have a plaque that recognizes these folks in the Lawyers Lounge. This is the biggest award that we give, and the award winner this year is going to be joining a great legacy of service. It's now my pleasure to announce that Jamie Bellotti Moses of Orlando is this year's winner of the Tobias Simon Pro Bono Service Award. Ms. Moses has served as a guardian ad litem volunteer through the Legal Aid Society of the Orange County Bar Association for 25 years. She has represented more than 24 abused, abandoned, and neglected children with compassion and excellence. A board-certified appellate lawyer, Ms. Moses has been a key volunteer in the Defending Best Interest Project since 2017. This initiative recruits pro bono attorneys to prepare briefs and appeals of cases where a judge has decided that termination of parental rights is in a child's best interest. She's contributed almost 400 hours of volunteer time while providing briefs in more than 30 cases. In addition to her own pro bono work, Ms. Moses has also been a leader promoting service as one of the highest commitments of the legal profession. She's been an advocate for the Orange County Bar Association's unique bylaws and its provisions mandating 100% participation in the Orange County Legal Aid Society, either by contributing services or by offering financial help. For these reasons and more, Ms. Moses embodies this award and the legacy of Tobias Simon. It's now my pleasure to ask Jamie Bellotti Moses to come forward and receive her award and make remarks.
So 3 brief comments before I make my remarks. Thank you so much for pronouncing my name right. Nobody ever does.
The only reason that I did is because I asked Jamie beforehand, so you can thank her.
Thank you, Jamie. Justice Groshans. Second comment, you never want to be the speaker before the reception because everybody wants to get out, so I apologize for that. And third comment, if Miss Saintville wasn't a young lawyer, she'd be getting Tobias Simon, so thank God you're young. Whew. Wow. May it please the court, Chief Justice Muniz, Justices, President Westheimer, President-elect Sanchez Medina, President-elect Designate Baker Barnes, yay! Distinguished guests, colleagues, and friends, it's with great humility that I accept this award. I was at this ceremony 2 years ago receiving the award on behalf of the Ninth Circuit. On our drive home, my husband, Scott, asked me how I felt about the award. I shared with him that, of course, I was honored to be recognized, but mentioned that one really hasn't made it in the pro bono world until they get the Tobias Simon. I explained the award to him. I explained the years and years that I have attended this ceremony and listened to the recipients' lengthy service and their speeches. My husband, who is also my biggest cheerleader, asked, well, when do you think you'll get that? And I simply responded, I don't do enough. Thus, you can imagine my shock when I received Justice Muniz's letter notifying me that I would be this year's recipient. I actually thought I was in trouble. I was speechless, and if you know me, that is a very rare occurrence. There isn't a mic I don't like. I'm often asked why pro bono work is important and why, after almost 30 years in practice, I'm still doing it. Some incorrectly perceive pro bono work as a way for young lawyers to handle cases on their own or to get their first courtroom experience. Many assume that once you've gotten that, you don't need to do it anymore. Nothing could be further from the truth. Anyone can make a meal, donate a blanket, build a house, or even write a check. Only lawyers can give pro bono legal services. It is our moral, ethical, and professional responsibility to do so. And pro bono is not handling a case you didn't get paid on. Pro bono is not doing plaintiff's work and it not working out. Pro bono work is knowing from the beginning you will never see a dime and still giving your client the most zealous representation you can. Only that is pro bono service. As stated in Luke 12:48, to whom much is given, much will be required. I always thought the expression was expected, but I really like required better. I would like to thank the statewide Guardian Ad Litem Office and the OCBA Legal Aid Society, not only for your nomination, but for the opportunities they provide for lawyers of the state. These are opportunities that everybody should take advantage of. To the selection committee and the court, thank you for deeming me worthy of this honor. I have no doubt that the other nominees must have been amazing. And to Holland and Knight for its unwavering commitment to pro bono service. It is not only recognized, but it is rewarded, and required. Many firms tout their pro bono service because they have a lawyer or two who is exceptional at it. That is not Holland and Knight. Every lawyer in the firm, whether partner or associate, litigator or transactional lawyer, new, fresh out of school, or long in the tooth, is expected to provide pro bono legal services on a yearly basis. Although I do a lot, so do my colleagues at Holland and Knight. It is truly an exceptional firm and proof that big law can do good. And finally, to my family, in particular, my husband is here. My kids live very far away, so they could not make it. This profession is stressful. It takes over our lives. It takes a lot of our time. It's easy to justify time away from your family when it's paying the bills. Pro bono work does not pay the bills. Thus, every time I took on another case or another appeal, I committed actively to take time away from my family. But they have never, ever complained. In fact, oftentimes when I would start walking upstairs, the question would be, are you going to work on another brief? And the answer was traditionally yes. My husband and my children have always known that my pro bono service was important to me and very much a part of me. And for that, I will always be grateful. Thank you for this tremendous honor.
Thank you. That was a great speech. Okay, well, we're almost finished, so before we do wrap up, if we could please give a last round of applause to all of our award winners today. I know I speak for all my colleagues on the court when I say that this ceremony every year is always really humbling. As judges, we're often called upon to give speeches to talk about professionalism and the ideals of our profession, and I think that that's really important because, you know, it's important for people to be reminded of things, even things, you know, that might seem obvious but that are very easy to forget or to, you know, not have it at top of mind. But obviously giving speeches is easy compared to actually doing work and getting out there and making sacrifices, taking time away from your families, being creative, and, you know, doing all the things that the award winners do and all the things that members of the Florida Bar throughout our state do that we acknowledged earlier today. So on behalf of the court, I just want to conclude again by saying thank you to everyone who won, thank you to everyone in the bar who does this kind of work, And I really would just encourage everybody to be creative, think about what you can offer. We love the ceremony in part because it shows that there are all kinds of different ways to serve, and everybody has something that they're good at that they can help others with and make a positive difference in our state. So thank you. We invite everyone here who's not an award winner to proceed to the rotunda to help celebrate the accomplishments of this year's recipients. And we ask the recipients to remain here in the courtroom for photographs with the justices. We're going to leave for a minute and then come back for those. Thank you again for being here. Congratulations again to the award winners, and our session now stands adjourned. Thanks.
All rise.